that's made things safer. And I think David was talking about Taiwan. I think it's made China reticent to be more aggressive there right now. So this is important in terms of a global impact. Again, getting back to the theme, this is just not about Ukraine.
Okay.
And I just add the UN protocols, the Organization for Security Cooperation in Europe, Helsinki Accords have been totally violated. And then you had, as you know, the Budapest Memorandum, which, of course, Ukraine regrets giving up its nuclear weapons because its territorial sovereignty and integrity was not protected. Security guarantees will matter here, and I think it's going to be looked at very closely, not only in terms of Ukraine, but also in terms of all of these multilateral covenants, which Russia has totally violated, completely.
So, question right here? Go ahead. Get a mic.
There is a hypothesis that one of the reasons, maybe the main reason, why Putin decided to invade Ukraine in 2014 and in 2022 is that he understood, because the West said it, that the West would not defend Ukraine, that the West would not engage, at least militarily, and the West recognized Putin's sphere of interests by saying that Ukraine would not become a part of NATO. But now, again, it's clear that the Russian army is not that strong. Again, with brave Ukrainian soldiers, we proved it on the battlefield. Don't you think that a face-saving exercise that would probably change, to some extent, this war, and may end this war quickly, and my understanding is that exactly what the whole world needs, is that when the West is now says, okay, enough is enough, we engage militarily, so we want to defend Ukraine, and then Putin says, okay, I cannot go at war with the whole West. Again, we Russians never wanted a third world war, so we already have demilitarized Ukraine, so we did enough, so he declares a victory, and the war ends. Don't you think that for the West to stop this war, the West needs to take some risks and to show some real strengths of the West?
I'll jump in. I think first, when I mentioned that a number of us signed this statement, we felt last year that it was crucial to show up front that we were united, that there should be military action, there should be economic sanctions imposed. Why? We needed a deterrent. But secondly, and you pointed it out, Putin calculated that we were weak. Withdrawal from Afghanistan, going back to 2014, that we told the Ukrainians, do not fight for Crimea and Donbass. No weapons were given at that time. And so, yes, he calculated the West is divided, the transatlantic relationship, and then at home, we're all fighting with one another.
Absolutely. He was counting on fatigue, war fatigue in the U.S., but also a change of regime, a change in leadership in Germany, and controversial French elections. He looked at all of this as a moment that he could probably act. But don't kid yourself. But he had this idea from 20 years ago, and he still has it.
But you asked about risk. I don't see this as risk. I see this as the appropriate deterrent. We heard Yulia speak very specifically in response to David's question about what's needed. We need to get the kind of heavy artillery so they can fight this war. And then you don't have to be worrying about troops. In fact, they have said, let us do it. But if you don't get the right equipment there, particularly at the port, which impacts the economic future of Ukraine.
60% of our export.
Correct.
We're going
Food
through
security
ports.
of the world.
So I don't see that as a risk. I see that we should do it, but there are some who see it as a risk. You know why? Because they see it as, oh, it's escalatory.
Given where we are today, do you think the war will still be on at the end of this year?
I do. And I'm basing that on information and the opinions of our military leaders, our security officials. I think in a public setting, I have to always be careful because I have other.
You don't want to release any classified information.
The chair of the Joint Chiefs, when I asked him the length of the war, he termed it as something likely to be a prolonged war, and that's
Leave it at that. All right, and what do you think? At the end of this year?
I do think it's going to be
Still
a long,
on.
and I'd add bloody war. That was Zelensky's words.
And you think it'll still be on by the end of the year, or you don't know?
I hope so. That's
and
my
you
dream.
Think
We want the war to be over soon. I mean, you know.
Okay, so we have time for 30 seconds left, right here. Irina? Irina, you need a quick question and we need a quick answer.
I'll be really quick. To give a break to Julia, Congressman Keating, do you think leaks from supposedly high-level officials from Pentagon, leaks about U.S. helping Ukraine and killing Russian generals, do you think it's useful or not useful in advancing your diplomatic policy?
First of all, I can tell you conclusively, they weren't leaks because it never existed. So nothing can leak if it doesn't exist. The U.S. was definitely not involved in what you're talking about, targeting specific generals or targeting this. We're not. We're providing assistance. We are providing intelligence to Ukraine, but we are not doing that. So those aren't leaks because that never happened.
Okay.
Russian generals, it's our price. So
How many have you killed now?
6 or 8, I don't remember.
I think it's more than that, but okay. All right, we are out of time.
The best one.
What?
I mean, there was best generals.
Okay.
The rest is.
Thank you all. I don't know if we resolved anything, but hopefully everybody learned something. Thank you all very much.